Morning, everybody. This is Leanna from Glacial Ridge, and this is our July garden tour. I always forget to show these jostaberry bushes in front of the goat area. They're a cross between black currant and gooseberries. A couple years ago, I used to put our sunflowers way in the back of our garden, and I decided that we should put them right along the fence. I think they're real pretty there. So we have them all lined inside the fence, lined up like a foot apart. I think that's going to be so pretty when they are in full bloom, and I will definitely do a tour when that happens. I'm also trying to put some herbs that the deers don't usually touch on the outside of the fence, and I have some over here. I think that's lemon balm and maybe some thyme. That's nasturtiums. Those are some pretty flowers. Over here we have some rosemary, oregano, some sage. Now let's go inside. Oh my gosh, these Dave Austin roses are my favorite this month. They're blooming like crazy and they're so beautiful. So many flowers are blooming right now. These are purple petunias. These are my sweet peas. I was hoping those would grow up and over this arch. Aren't they pretty? The heat is starting to get to them though, I think. We have some volunteer nasturtiums here. Over here is the side fence, and it's the tomatoes mixed with some of those those Cinderella pumpkin plants. They're turning yellow, some of them. You could see on the other side some of those herbs I was telling you about that I'm seeing if the deer will leave alone. And here's my sunflower, the line of sunflowers on the front from the inside view. Of course, they'll be a lot prettier when they're blooming, but it's exciting to see them grow. Last year, I was able to grow some delphiniums from seed, and they didn't really bloom. I mean, maybe a couple of them bloomed, but this year, oh my gosh, it's been beautiful. This raised bed, there's a whole bunch of snow peas we need to harvest today. Last year we planted them on the arch and they didn't get high enough to cover them, but this year they probably would have. The trellis here doesn't look like it's going to support them very much longer. This next bed over here has some lavender growing in front of this huge kale and some basil that I grew from seed. And in the back there, it's just some lettuce, some freckled lettuce that is growing like crazy. These next two beds over here are garlic. We've had pretty good luck with this garlic. I think next year I'm going to plant some on the outside of our fence. That'll make room for other things in these beds, these raised beds. Once you plant chamomile, you never have to plant it again. It will volunteer everywhere, and I love that. Look at this chamomile inside these cabbages. That's some red cabbage there, and the rest are green cabbages. But the chamomile makes that bed my favorite. It's so pretty. And of course, I'm going to leave a volunteer sunflower in the middle of this bed. Over here in this last bed, that's broccoli. These are semi-dwarf Granny Smith apple trees. Further back are the cherry trees. Can you tell which plants I bought as starts from Home Depot and which peppers that I started myself? I'm sure you can. But that's the thing with gardening, you just keep trying. Every year I start seeds, hundreds and maybe 1,000 seeds I start, and some of them turn out and some of them don't. These two big pots in front, one of them is spearmint and the other is strawberry mint. And those are baby sunflowers right there. This is my favorite thing in the garden this year is the arch trellis that Norm made us. Those might be the crows that steal our duck eggs.
Sweet peas.
I planted so much stuff, I'm not sure what's what, but I know that's cantaloupe. There's some Jack B. Little pumpkins, the little orange ones, and there's some Baby Boo pumpkins in here. I planted a ton of cantaloupe. Here's some more cantaloupe here, but down there there's more, and on this side there's more, in between a bunch of stuff. I just wanted to make sure this year I'm hoping to get cantaloupe. Towards the end I have some cherry tomatoes, some sun sugar, and also super sweet 100. But also, if you look down, I have a volunteer tomato plant growing out of the base of the raised bed. Isn't that crazy? So on the outside of the arch, in these raised beds, I have the hot peppers on this side and the sweet peppers on the other side. Hopefully, so they don't get mixed up. These are jalapenos. Most of this side is jalapenos. And again, you could tell which ones were the starts that we bought from Home Depot and which are the ones I started from seed. Every year is an experiment to see, if we can do better than the last year. Just trying different things. At the end of this bed, those are watermelon that are doing really well. Hoping those turn out. I'm excited about that. And again, these are the spearmint and strawberry mint I'm growing. As long as there's no mix-ups, these should be all sweet peppers on this side. Except for the little bits of like onion, basil, or things that I plant to detract pests. At the very end here, we stuck in some potatoes. We wanted to see what they would do in this raised bed. We also have a potato patch just in the dirt. I'll show you those later. Looks like a deer at the top of this tomato plant. Over here next to these Granny Smith apple trees, we stuck in a bunch of stuff like tomatoes against this fence. Some volunteer sunflower right there. So past my arch trellis that's where all our berry bushes are. These are the fall gold. Look how tall this is. And the next one over is red raspberries. We're going to have a lot this year, that's for sure. The next row are the blueberries, which are still pretty tiny, so we used that space to create a potato patch. Next row are more raspberries, and the last row over there are blackberries. On the other side, there's a row of haskaps, honeyberries, and these are just backup starts for when I need to fill in for plants that die or when I pull up my garlic. And here is another view of all our rows of berries. We're getting a lot of berries this year. Over here are the north 4 raised beds. It's a beautiful day in Idaho. Can you see all the berries starting? All the baby berries. These flowers here, all those are going to be blackberries. It's going to be an incredible blackberry year. Look at that. That's crazy. I always forget to mention these huge Bing cherry trees in the background. And in front of those cherry trees, we have some espalier apple trees that have kind of never been properly pruned. On this north side, we have this strawberry bed that's full of weeds. The next bed over is asparagus. Here's another look at our honeyberries and my backup starts. It's kind of a mess right now. And here are those sunflowers that I'm excited about. These last 2 beds, there's onions with strawberries. This one is mostly potatoes, chamomile, and onions. We put a few onions in this asparagus bed. And here's our main strawberry bed. It's producing a lot of strawberries, but it's pretty crowded. We're going to have to do something about it. Some of the broccoli that's gone to seed will go to our goats. Here's Sean harvesting some chamomile for us. Thank you guys for joining us in our early July garden tour.